Hello guys, welcome back to ESENtaxa. Andrea Papito here, and in this video I'm going to explain you about how to use your legal entity abroad, how you own a legal entity abroad, or known as offshore companies. Now, if you're new to this channel, I just want to say that ESENtaxa talks about how to optimize your taxation in a specific country. We are #1 channel on Italian tax optimization, but we also have a playlist in which we have plenty of videos where we discuss about international tax principles. And this is one of those videos. If you have a company in a certain country and you want to relocate in another country, you have maybe the problem of understand what I have to do with this company. It's a company that I have to convert in a different jurisdiction. This company needs to be closed, or I need to incorporate straight a new brand new company, actually. So in this video, I'm going to explain you how in reality you should do, how you should proceed in general cases, and we see why certain jurisdictions, they prefer that you incorporate a different company in a different jurisdiction rather than keep the existing one. So the most habitual case that we have among our clients is the following. I have somebody from a country A, and this guy wants to relocate in country B. This guy, of course, has a company that runs a business online, which is the classical example. Nowadays, it's the most common thing, because we can work wherever we want in the world, but the problem is that the jurisdiction where I have incorporated the company is not the same jurisdiction where I'm actually living. And in most of the cases, the problem is the following. I have to be resident in a certain country, which automatically brings me into the problem of being tax resident in that specific country, because maybe I pass more than 6 months, but the company still resides abroad. Or I simply want to incorporate a company in a different country, just because the taxation there is lower, while in the country where I'm residing in, the taxation is quite high, either at the level of individual or at the level of the company. Well, the problem of this scenario is the following. In general cases, the most common jurisdiction in the world, they assume that if you are running a business that can be online, for example, and you are the only owner of this company, at the same time, you are also, from the official point of view, the administrator of this company, then the country in which you are residing, in which you are spending most of your time, in which you have your ties, your family relations, etc., assume that your foreign company, it's a company inside their jurisdiction. I'll give you a practical example. We have plenty of clients that wants to move to Italy, and Italy consider a foreign company as an Italian one, as an ordinary SRL, if you are running this business from Italy. Because what the jurisdiction are looking for is the place of effective management. So this element is the most important one, the place of effective management. So if you're able to prove that the place of effective management is not in the country you are living in, you are residing, but it's actually done abroad, you basically avoid the famous tax inversion problem, tax inversion, which is actually what the requalification of a foreign company in your jurisdiction of tax residence. So this is quite a problematic thing, because if the tax agency requalify this company, then it will ask you back everything that you didn't declare. So you might be considered a tax evader, and you have to pay a lot of penalties, fine, and also interest at the top of these penalties. And in some countries, this also is a penalty offense, and means that you have to be very careful, because you risk to be put in jail in certain jurisdictions. So, because above a certain threshold of evasion, you will get into penal civil, let's say, area. And so that's extremely important to understand where is the place of effective management. The majority of the country considers the place of effective management the place where the administrator of the company is living. So they consider, by default, since the administrator is the only person that is running the business, and this guy is living in a certain country for more than 6 months, this is tax resident in a certain country, and this country considers, country X, considers also his company in the same jurisdiction because of these reasons, because he's the one that is running effectively and is giving the input to the company. Now, what are the exceptions? Of course, there are exceptions, and that's the reason why we have to carefully check each and every scenario. Each and every situation might be different because you might fall in certain exceptions. So the first exception is that you can check if this company is not running a business online, but has economical substance. Economical substance. The majority of the country, when they are trying to requalify your foreign company in their own jurisdiction, they are trying to understand if you just did this setup just to pay less taxes or because you were forced to do this. So imagine that you have a shop, a physical shop, or you have to do some research, you have to open a company to provide some research in a certain field for a certain specific geographic area. Of course, the place effective management is not more relevant because you have to open the company in that jurisdiction because only there is an economic substance and only there the company can be run, and not only in a country where you're tax resident, even though you're the administrator. So the place of effective management, it is the most important element only when you don't have any economical substance in the company that you have abroad. This is a classical exception that we have to understand in your specific situation. Besides this economical substance, there is also another scenario which is less common, but it's basically what we could consider a concrete reason that oblige you to have this company abroad. So what could be these concrete reasons? Imagine that you have to incorporate a company that you can run from abroad. You're not physically in the jurisdiction where you have incorporated the company, but the client you work with through this company oblige you to have the VAT number of that specific jurisdiction. So it's true that the place of effective management is in your country of residence, but some other elements oblige you, some other reasons oblige you to keep that company abroad and be run abroad, okay? So also the third element, it's something that we consider as part of sort of economical substance, even though it's not exactly the same. It's not exactly the same principle. This is when we have the situation where I'm the only owner of the company, I'm the only administrator of the company. But there are certain cases where I can run a business online, living in a different country, the country different from my online business, from my entity, if I have other shareholders with me. So the place of effective management and the requalification of a foreign company in a domestic company, it's something that happened because your current jurisdiction considers that you are the owner also in terms of shares. But keep in mind that in the fourth case, if you, for example, own a company with 33% of the share and the other 33% of the share are owned by other people living in other jurisdictions, for example, this guy is living in Germany, this guy is living in Italy, and this guy is living in Belgium, for example, and the administrator of this company is in Malta, because the company is a Maltese company, MT, actually, this company cannot be requalified in any of the high-tax countries in Europe, but will be, of course, a Maltese company 100% without any problem, because no one from the other jurisdiction has the control of the company. So each and every one has to provide an assembly, a board in which they can give the direction, and this direction can be done in Malta once per year. So the place of effective management cannot be neither in Germany, Belgium, or Italy, but will be Malta, where it has been incorporated and where more likely you have to select or elect an administrator, a local administrator that actually resides in Malta. And last but not least, the way of requalifying your foreign company is also based on the time. So what does it mean? It means that your jurisdiction of residence might consider the time, the famous 183 days. So this means that if you own the company, if you own more than 50% of the share of a certain company for less than 183 days, then the automatical requalification is not applicable, because in all the European jurisdictions, the principle is the following. The place of effective management has to be run for more than 183 days. So if you keep in mind this concept, you can incorporate a company just during the summertime because you want to run a seasonal business. Then you can open a company in a certain country, such as Malta. You want to invoice something, you want to provide some service only in summertime, and this can be done in less than 183 days. So you open a company, you run the business, you make some profit, and then you close the company in less than 183 days. In this case, you can also be the administrator, the owner of the company, but never see your company requalified in your country of residence. I hope I gave you some clarification about how to obtain a legal offshore companies abroad. I'm not just talking about the European company, but this makes sense also for a company in Panama, Cayman Island, whatever jurisdiction that might be considered a tax haven, if we follow these 5 important principles. And that's it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching this content. Subscribe to the channel, ESENtaxa. Please, notification bell to be always updated whenever we release a new videos. And keep in mind that in the description below the video, you will have our email contact info@esentaxa.com. Or alternatively, if you want to have a consultation with us, we have a 50-minute call for free in which we can drive you through our services. Thank you and see you to the next video.